What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Carnage. My friend, football season is in full swing.
Yeah.
Our fantasy football seasons are in full swing. We are a tale of two teams. You are kicking ass and taking names, and I am sucking hind tit right now. It is the first time in a few years I've had a down year. We're only 2 weeks into it, but it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling at all.
No, I have three leagues going. I'm 2-0 in one league, 1-1 in one league, and 0-2 in one league.
I
So
am 0-2, 0-2, and then 2-0.
okay, yeah. So I find that I'm average again. My team is starting to feel themselves out though, so I'm not too scared as of yet. But you know, I could see myself getting more and more frustrated as the season goes on because my team looks good on paper one week and then they just throw up a total goose egg.
Yeah, that's the problem I've been having. I've been winning by the skin of my teeth in one league, and I have been losing because of the opposing team's defensive selections just having outstanding weeks.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
mean, two very freak things from a defensive play 2 weeks in a row that have basically killed me. And it's the game. It's frustrating. It's fun. It keeps you entertained. Keeps me entertained. But that's also why I don't play for a lot of money. The league I do play for money in, I'm just getting my ass kicked every which way but normal. And I wish Joe Burrow would actually be Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he's not. He has not. That's for sure. He has definitely not been anything. And I think that's the hardest part about, the fantasy football in general is everything is kind of based on, I don't even know how these people become experts, to be honest. In general, I don't know how someone says that they know for sure something's going to happen. Whether you're talking about stock movements, the economy, whether you talk about fantasy football, whether you talk about, any sort of expert who thinks that they know more than everybody else and has an opinion. Um, I'm finding more and more everyone's full of shit.
You
Everyone is
know,
full of shit. When you're trying to predict the future, no one knows, no one has an idea, and we keep falling
the
into
Simpsons
this,
do.
oh, well, someone else knows better than everybody else, so let's follow what they say.
The Simpsons know better. They seem to be predicting the future left and right, being pretty accurate with it. So before we say you can't predict the future, I just want to say the Simpsons have done it time and time again.
Give me an example.
You've never heard those theories?
No. There you go. It's a theory. It's not real.
Actually, it's not actually a theory. It's true. They
Okay.
did predict. They did predict a President Trump. They did predict the coronavirus. They have predicted. Oh, there's clips and reels of it all over, but they go back and they reference any of the like that was a 35 seasons where they tend to predict quite a few things. They predicted a couple Super Bowls by accident years and years in advance.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Then I guess it is
So
possible.
anything is possible. But the thing about it is, I think if you understand situations enough, and we'll use fantasy football as an excuse because that's just what we were talking as an excuse, as an example, because that's just what we were talking about. I don't consider myself an expert, but I'm smart enough to understand matchups. And I think if you understand matchups, you can make your best guess in a best case scenario understanding those matchups. And I think the problem we have now, nobody plays in the preseason. So really, the first couple weeks of the season are a crapshoot. You can pretend like you know, but in reality, we won't really know what we're working with until probably week 4, 5, or 6.
Okay, well then I've usually found that's probably pretty accurate because every year the players that kind of rise up, um, the players that usually rise up have proven themselves that they're consistent.
Yeah.
You know, by the
You
time
know,
that by the time week 6 comes around.
everybody has ups and downs throughout the season, and there's a lot of consistent players out there, but you know that's why the game is frustrating. Just because they're consistent one week doesn't mean they're going to show up the next week, and you just it's the luck of the draw. That's why it's called Dungeons and Dragons for jocks.
Why do you think though that so many people put so much weight into these experts? Um, about that they know everything, and so we should trust their judgment. Why is that?
Because there's money involved. There's bragging rights involved. Oftentimes there's punishments you want to avoid. I don't know if you've ever read about some of the fantasy football punishments that are out there. But
I was talking more like when you go onto a fantasy football website and the people who are the experts tell you, oh, try this, put this player in. They're going to have a great game, and this player is going to have a great game. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what,
But why do you believe someone that's half right, half wrong?
Well, because if you're unsure of yourself and you aren't sure if that's the person you want to start, you go looking for validation. You go looking for a reason to start that person or bench that person. And the people that are the quote unquote experts are offering you that validation or that reasoning as to why you don't want to do that.
Are there any experts out there just in general where you say, you know what, that person is a trusted source for me, that they seem to know whether it's financially, sports wise,
Yes. Steven Seagal.
Okay, see, I just rolled my eyes. You can't see, audience, you cannot see a rolled eye on the podcast. That's the only thing that is very frustrating is you can't see a rolled eye on the podcast.
Oh, that was sarcasm. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
but that's why I rolled my eyes. See, it's a virtual rolling of the eyes.
I mean, but everybody knows somebody that's an expert at everything. Been there, done that. They either have done it themselves or they know somebody who's done it that's very close to them, and they will tell you how to do whatever you're trying to do.
And how do you filter out what stuff you're going to believe and what stuff you don't?
Generally after the second or third time they happen to know exactly what you're talking about and have been there and done that exact same thing, I start taking everything with a grain of salt. Like, okay. I let you run your mouth and I just kind of tune out and play the Gilligan's theme in my head for a few times and then I go on to the next thing.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Some people just want to feel heard, and that's how they feel heard, and that's fine. I'll let them do it, but I'm not taking their advice. I'm not stupid.
Do you think that part of what we believe or don't believe when someone says something has to do with how they touch our emotions?
I think so. I think it's like I said, it goes back to validation. I think it goes back to you want someone that you don't know that is a quote unquote trusted source to tell you what you're doing is the right thing. That you made the right move. You made the right call. Your line of thinking is right in line with the subject matter experts that are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars on TV.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's a validation that I believe I believe what they say because they're saying the same thing that I am.
Very much so.
Got it. Okay.
Very much so.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I would not be a good cult follower.
Yeah. And we've talked about that.
Yeah. I just wouldn't be good because I don't buy any expert on anything. If it doesn't make sense to me, it just, goes against what I think, then it's hard for me to buy into that.
No, I agree completely. And I think that's a big reason why it seems that maybe this year fantasy football is so much more popular with the ongoing writer strike and actor strike. This is the time of year that like new TV shows start up or new seasons begin, movies are coming out, and we don't have that right now. So people are looking for other outlets. And I think
that writer's strike and actor's strike is still going, and it's been 4 months now? 4 months for the writers.
It's been going on since at least April. So what's that? Almost 6 months?
Well, the writers, yeah, for sure. I don't know how long the actors have been out, but the writers have definitely been out.
2 months after that, yeah.
Yeah.
So. I find it interesting how the networks are starting to handle this ongoing strike. They're dragging out game shows. Paramount has a Spanish style game show coming out, like not a telenova, but you know how like the wild like Spanish channels.
Oh, okay.
Like those wild, colorful, zany, and they're in Spanish too, which I thought was very interesting.
So how do they get around the writers? Because doesn't someone have to write for those shows?
I don't think so. I don't know how that works. That's an excellent question.
I know that Drew Barrymore got in some trouble when she tried to bring her show back on.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're going to write, technically that means you should be in that writing guild, and if you're not in that writing guild, I would say that means you're a scab.
Wow, yeah, interesting. Creatively, you're a scab. Or I guess
Yeah,
logistically you're a scab, but creatively you're a writer. Interesting.
yeah, yeah. It's very interesting to see how they're doing it. You know, ABC is moving Monday Night Football over to ABC for the first time in God almost 15 or 20 years because it's been on ESPN forever. So they're just trying to find ways to fill the airtime. There's more college sports on right now. There's more professional sports on. If we're not careful, we're going to find the American Cornhole Leagues on a major network for a lack of better option.
Do you believe in these strikes?
I do. I understand the reasoning because not everybody makes the same money The Rock makes. For every actor you have like The Rock or Jennifer Aniston, you have people that are just extras that are getting by as waiters and waitresses and trying to make it as actors and actresses and writers and whatnot. And they make a little money, but they rely on the insurance from being a part of the union. And you know they deserve to have some benefits too. And if these major companies are pulling in billions and billions of dollars in profit, I don't know why they can't give a little bit more to the people helping them make those profits.
Yeah, I find that I'm kind of mixed on this because I do feel that a strike for an employee group like that, like the automotive worker strike, I totally understand why they're doing it, but those kind of events affect consumers because now we don't get cars, we don't get the things. So the things that we've become reliant on, we're not going to have. And
Yeah.
when they say that that $100,000 a year is not enough money anymore for an automaker to or for an auto worker to get paid, and they need to have a 20% raise, it seems a little excessive.
Well, yeah, I think it does too. And I think the big thing is these people are hoping these unions are hoping that once the consumers start going without the new vehicles or the parts or to fix the vehicles or the TV shows, and you start to see the consumers suffer from lack of options or lack of ability to fix their automobiles or buy new ones, the companies will start to cave and they'll start to renegotiate a lot of these things. But there's quite a ways to go before any of that's going to happen.
Well, and then the other hard part is that let's say that the strike wins. Let's say the strikers win and they get all these extra benefits and costs. Why do we just assume that the company's going to eat those costs? They're not.
No,
They're
it
going to
always
pass
gets
that
passed
on to
on to
us.
consumer.
So we're going to
Yeah,
get screwed on the prices.
yeah.
The same issue happened when they were talking about the minimum wage. Well, you need to make a fair living to survive. I get that, but you think that these companies are just going to eat that extra cost? No, they're going to pass it on. So
Yeah.
you're causing yourself your own. You're already building yourself out of the cost of these products by doing this. Now,
And,
on
you're already
this side,
seeing
I
that
get it.
too with the increase in platform subscriptions. I love getting those emails. You know, it's we're raising your monthly subscription rate $2.
Yeah.
I think it's happened 2 or 3 times in the last 6 months over 2 or 3 different
Right.
applications too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
And yet I don't have an answer because I agree on both. I mean, that's why I'd be a horrible politician is I could find positives and negatives on any topic. Um, and I wouldn't come up with a solution to fix a problem because
well, I think the only way you're going to get to a solution there is if you actually bring the people together and have them hammer out the issues and make everybody on both sides understand the concerns.
well, but that's the thing though, Scott. These like the auto workers, they had come to the table. They had hammered out what they thought, what East Side thought was the best interest for them, and they couldn't come up with an agreement. So the chasm between the two sides was discussed, but it was not resolved because it was too far a wide of a gap between what was acceptable.
Oh,
Do you think that? Do you really think there is a win-win situation for negotiations?
um, I don't think there's ever a win-win. I just think that there's a situation where everybody is just fine. They can live with it.
Have you ever had a negotiation where at the end you said, you know what, I did not get everything I wanted, and they won this negotiation?
Yes.
Okay. And when those kind of situations happen, it makes me, because I've had that too, where I thought, wow, okay, yeah, they got a smoke and deal out of this thing compared to what I got. And
It comes down to a want versus a need. And if someone who needs it is negotiating to get something versus someone who wants it, if you need it, you're going to give up way more than if you just want it.
yeah, I guess maybe that's where it comes to play, is if you want something bad enough, you're going to get it no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just don't think I I don't know where we're at with those negotiations yet. I don't pay a lot of attention to it, to be honest with you, especially now that there's so many things going on in this world with it was the playoffs about to start in baseball and college football and regular football. If these people want to strike, man, go get yours. Do what you got to do to make sure you have the best case living scenario for you. But at some point, you could also end up killing your industry.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, um, what sports went on strike, and it took like 3 or 4 years for them to come
Baseball.
back. Baseball, thank you. Yeah, I can remember it was baseball or football, but it took a long time for them to come back because people were like, "You guys are multimillionaires. Give me a break."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it happens quite a bit, and people have short memories now for a lot of things, but they don't have them for that. If they think that you're making too much money and you're bitching about something that is only going to make you more money, and we're still sitting here just trying to make ends meet, that tends to turn the people against you pretty easy, you know?
There was one moment where Noreen and I were at dinner with some friends, and the topic came up about pay at work, and the person who we were talking to was saying, it's really unfortunate because one of the employees, it was just discovered that they're making like $1.50, $2 more an hour than everybody else in the department, and I don't think that's fair. Everyone should get the same pay. And Noreen brought up a great example. She said, "Okay, let's look at this. I hire you. I mean, I'm interviewing you. We get to the point where we're going to offer you a position, and I ask you what is the amount of money that you need to make to come work for us." And they say, "I need to make $18 an hour." Okay, and Noreen says, "Okay, well, actually, our range is $20 to $25 an hour, so I'm going to pay you 20." Whoo, fantastic. I'm excited. This is great. Fantastic. Then you come in and you find out that people doing the same job as you are getting paid $22 an hour. Why are you mad? You asked for 18. I gave you
Yeah,
20. Why are you mad now because someone else asked for 22 and we gave that to them because they asked for that?
that's fair.
And I think I think that we want to think that everything is fair when it comes to negotiations, right? Everything is
Yeah.
fair. But the reality is that one, some people are better negotiators or have a better understanding of their value, right? One.
Hmm.
Two, some people, you know, don't value themselves or don't realize that they can ask for more. But you can't
Yeah.
get mad then that you didn't ask for more, that the company should then come in and say, well, you're paying everyone else $22 an hour. You should pay me $22 an hour.
So let me just play devil's advocate here, and I don't want to come off as rude as saying this, but the example you gave, if someone's asking for $18 an hour and the pay scale is 20 to 25, uh, with that dollar amount being what it is, maybe those people don't have the right negotiating skills or tactics, because that's not exactly a high end dollar amount by today's standards. That seems like it's more of an entry level position, basically.
Well, how about this? I'll give you a personal example. When I negotiated for my job 3 years ago, now that
Uh-huh.
I look back, I should definitely have asked for more money.
Yeah.
I should have definitely asked for more money. That being said, I asked for a price or I asked for a dollar amount. They gave me higher than that dollar amount. I was thankful for that dollar amount at the time. Would it be fair for me to say, you know what? I realize I didn't negotiate very well before, but now that I know more, I want you to pay me more.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I
maybe
think
not, maybe not. I don't know. But it seems like I can't get mad at the company for exceeding what my expectations were and then finding out, oh, they would have paid me more if I just asked for it.
no, I agree. You can't get mad when they do that. I've always made it a personal rule that whenever you start negotiating, let's whatever your price is, add 20% and start there.
And
Because
you do that. So if you started that with a new job, that makes a lot of sense, right? So
yeah,
whatever I'm happy with plus 20%.
yeah,
But
if
if you
yeah,
found
go ahead.
out that like if you found out that a coworker who was doing the exact same job as you and you're already working, you found out they were making that 20% more than whatever you asked for,
Uh huh.
what is the expected um, decision on your part to say what you do from there?
Well, I don't know. I guess I look at it as like how much experience do they have? If it's someone that's coming right out of school and doesn't have any experience, then they got to be a little upset. But if it's somebody that's got a lot more experience in the field I'm in and expertise, then I can't really argue with it.
Well, I think that was the point that Noreen was making is why are you upset that someone with less experience is making more when we gave you in excess of what you asked for? We gave you more than what you asked for. Why are you
Yep.
upset at the company because someone else with less experience is getting paid more? Why? Because they asked for it and they got it.
Yeah, no, that's very fair.
And
And
I mean, I thought it was a good point because it would be easy for me to say that, oh, that's not fair. They don't know nearly as what I do and they're getting paid more. Yeah,
yeah,
but
that's not the issue though.
now maybe,
It's almost like people that represent themselves in court. They've got a fool for a lawyer. It's almost better if you don't represent yourself in those negotiations in some cases, because someone else might see a higher worth versus what you're seeing in yourself.
well, and I know for myself personally, when I had to do a court appearance for a child support issue, and I had to represent myself because I didn't have the money to buy a lawyer, and I got the exact desired amount that I wanted. But the reason why was because I did my research and I went to the law library and I found case law and I found precedent to present to the judge. And ultimately I made a compelling argument that the judge found that he agreed with me.
Yeah,
There's
that's
so
great.
many different things in play there besides just, hire someone who knows what they're doing. Cause there's a lot of attorneys that don't know what the hell they're doing.
No, I agree.
In fact, I
I
was going
agree.
up against an attorney. I was going up against an attorney in that case. Now, I was fortunate because she was a state attorney who didn't care one way or the other on the outcome.
Yeah, I mean that helps.
So maybe that's why I had an advantage over her. But how about this? When I made my argument, she didn't put forth a better argument to stop how the judge ruled.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
And so, like I'm sure that, when you're looking for better pay, I just don't think that you can just arbitrarily just compare yourself to what other people make and say I should get more or less.
No,
Um,
I understand that completely. And when I first started my very first job out of college, for my career in banking, one of the ladies was quote unquote helping me by showing me where everything was in my paycheck. I didn't ask her; she just took it out of my hand, and she saw how much I was making, and I was making more than them. But I had a college degree, and the organization realized they had to start paying people with degrees a little bit more to keep them. And
right.
at that time, it was only $10 an hour, so it wasn't exactly like lighting the world on fire.
But she took it as a personal affront, and maybe
Yeah,
her grievance is not at anything more than, do I want to work for a company that values me so little?
Exactly, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
You know,
And I get that. And, to me, I look at the auto workers and think you guys are balking because they want to pay you $100,000 a year, and you're balking at that. Good Lord, get out of the way then, because there's a lot of people that would love to make $100,000 a year with a good job and good benefits.
I'm gonna put this caveat out there because I'm betting. What I'm betting on is it's not really $100,000 a year. That's what the news reports are. And I was talking to a friend of mine this weekend who is a UPS driver that just got that record deal.
Yes.
Advertised all over the news. Average UPS wage is now $170,000.
Yes.
Incorrect. He said, he told me, he goes, one, that potential is not for a few years down the road, like after this current contract expires. And secondly, if you would like to make that kind of money at the end of the year, that is an average of 48 and a half hours a week working. And that's also counting what you're paying for insurance and paying for your benefits. So it's not a true representation of what we're going to be making. So that's all the employee matching too.
And I mean, the numbers can be manipulated around, but some might argue you drive a truck all day.
Yeah.
To make $170,000 in gross revenue per year to drive a truck all day, and you have construction guys that put their life on the line in the hot heat that don't make half that. You could see how someone could say, wow, boy. Now, on the other side, I could say, hey, they recognize what they think they're worth. They're willing to go on strike and not get paid, and possibly even lose their jobs in certain states where they say, you know what, all of you are fired then, to do that, right? So,
yeah, I think that at the end of the day, though, the argument is not about what you're getting paid to do and what the profession is. The point of the matter is if they're saying $100,000 isn't enough, are they talking about salary, or does that also include all the benefits and whatever else that they're lumping in there to try to make that number look inflated?
There are so many people in this country, Scott, that would kill to have $100,000 no matter how it gets calculated.
No, and I get that, but that's my point being is that's not the real wage they're probably making.
But still, yeah, I think that anyone who can bring in $100,000 a year is probably doing better than the average.
And I would agree,
right,
if those numbers in this case are accurate. But I don't think you're fully understanding what I'm trying to say that number actually is versus that's not what their gross is at the end of the year on their W-2s. That number
includes benefits that are paid on their behalf.
Yeah. And retirement is paid on their behalf.
If they didn't have that, they'd have to pay that out of their pocket, which would lower the amount of the hourly wage.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, just to wrap it up, let's think of it this way. 4 years ago, Patrick Mahomes signed the richest contract for a quarterback ever. Just 3 years later, he's now the 5th or 6th highest paid quarterback. So you can be the best at what you do.
He's the richest again.
What's that?
He signed a deal this week. He's the richest again.
He restructured it. That's all he did. Yeah. He restructured it. But what I'm saying is that in 3 years, the best quarterback did not change. He's still the best quarterback, but people got paid more But
the market resets.
Yes, the market resets.
When the market resets,
right. Yep. Yeah.
That dictates the tidal waves that we run into across the board for who gets paid what and who's more valued versus who isn't.
And let's be honest, I don't know how that renegotiation happened. I'm sure that the Kansas City Chiefs said there's no way that we are going to be able to keep this man happy if he's the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th highest paid quarterback just 3 years into his deal.
Yeah.
Let's restructure this, we just gave Deshaun Watson, who hasn't even proved anything and is more money than guaranteed than Patrick Mahomes got on his original contract. We need to change that. So I get it. when you're the best, you do have a little bit of weight to carry to say, hey, we're going to renegotiate the contract. Because if we don't, that's fine. I can probably make changes, so.
Yeah. Well, it's still a 10-year, $500 million contract, still pretty damn good.
Right, but when you look at someone who is not as good as you making more, it's relative. Yeah, I got you.
It's relative, yeah. But also, when you're talking that level of dollar amount, that's more about ego than anything else. Because after your first couple years of those massive contracts, money ain't a thing anyway.
That's true. But if you're the best quarterback, you certainly don't want to have a second or third tier quarterback making more money than you for too long.
Oh, I agree. So as we wrap up today's show, kind of all over the place today, with the writer's strike and actor strike ongoing, what are you planning on doing to occupy your time in the evenings with lack of new shows? Are you going to watch game shows, reruns, read a book? Go outside. What's your plan? We want to hear about it. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you'd like to congratulate our EP, Tom, on actually being, I want to say 2-0 in two separate leagues right now.
I think he is, yeah.
I'm finally figuring out how to play the fantasy football game. Hit him up and congratulate him at Liquid_EP on Twitter and the Instagram.
Yeah, we were all over the place, but sometimes we have to just go all over the place. We can't get too crazy. Happens. So next week, we're going to talk about morticians and how they impact the world. So
yeah. Tune in for that. It'll be a lot of fun. And beekeeping.
Oh, yes.
What to do with the carcasses after the queen dies.
Oh, I like that.
Riveting show.
Riveting.
Yeah. That being said, Jason, take us home.
Hey, thanks for listening, everyone. We always appreciate you. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself